Good morning, students. You know that we are in the fifth module and we have completed spur gears. That is the first part of the question which you can expect from module 5, that is for 20 marks we have completed. Now the OR question which you can expect here is coming from gear trains. Again, one question you can expect, that is for 20 marks. In spur gears there will be split pattern you can expect, that is one derivation will be coming for 10 marks and one problem for 10 marks, but in gear trains only one problem which carries 20 marks. So we'll move into the gear trains. So gear trains, what is gear trains? That is, you know what is a gear. Gears are nothing but it is a type of transmission system in which you can transmit motion from one shaft to another shaft. But when you have two or more gears which are made to mesh each other, the main intention is to transmit power from one shaft to another. Then such combination of two or more gears arranged together is called as gear train. Just like the trains we know, train is nothing but the one compartment will be there. Similarly, different compartment or bogies will be connected together. So that arrangement is called as train. Here, similarly, here also, the train means you have a lot of gears arranged together. But its mainly purpose for this gear trains are to transmit power. So this may be different, like spur gear trains you can expect, you can have bevel or spiral. So this is the basic thing regarding the gear trains. Now we'll move directly on to the different types of gear trains. So the first type is simple gear train, second is compound gear train, third is reverted, fourth is epicyclic gear train. Now what is a simple gear train? Simple gear train means you have only one gear. You have only one gear on each shaft. In one shaft you can have only one gear. So you can see here, this is, you can see at the down below, on one shaft you have only one gear. Similarly, another shaft you have another gear. So this type of arrangement is called as simple gear train, and in simple gear train you have a gear in which you are giving the power. That gear is called as driver gear, and due to that power it will move or it will rotate the other gear which is called as driven. So driver gear will be there and driven gear will be there. So when these two gears mesh externally, you can see how it is meshing. One is meshing like this externally. If driver gear is rotating in clockwise direction, this driven gear will be rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. So always in external gearing system, the direction of rotation of driver and driven will be in opposite direction. Okay, so sometimes you can expect one more gear which is coming in between the driver and driven. So what happens is, so driver will be rotating and it will in turn rotates the gear which is at the center, and due to that it will again rotate the gear at the end. So you can see here, this rotates clockwise, driven rotates also clockwise. And here the case is you have two intermediate gears. So if that is the case, then you can see the direction of rotation. Here the direction of rotation of driver and driven is same because only one gear is in between. Here it is 2, that's why the direction is opposite. So it is based on the number of intermediate gears you can change the direction of driver and driven. So that is another advantage for this intermediate gearing system. So we'll see that in detail. So this is the picture where you have a driver, follower or a driven, and an intermediate gear in between. Now we'll see how to find out the speed ratio. Speed ratio is nothing but it is ratio of speed of, you can see 1 is the driver gear, 2 is the driven gear. If gear 1 and gear 2 is meshing with each other, speed ratio is always the ratio of the speed of the driver divided by speed of the driven, which will be equal to number of teeth. Speed and teeth will be always in inversely proportional. So N1 by N2 will be always equal to T2 by T1. So speed ratio is nothing but it is the ratio of the speed of driver gear to the driven gear. And what about train value? Train value is the reciprocal of that. Reciprocal means train value is the ratio of the speed of the driven to the speed of the driver, just the opposite of the speed ratio. So train value will be always N2 by N1, which is again equal to T1 by T2. So these are the two important terms that you have to know in this module. One is speed ratio, another one is train value. So here you can see a lot of theory coming why we are having an intermediate gears, that what is the necessity of the intermediate gears and all is there. You can just go through it. That is just the theory part which you have to know. So here this is the calculation when you have 3 gears, 1, 2, 3 gears are there. And first we will find out the speed ratio N1 by N2 equal to T2 by T1. That is when gear 1 is in mesh with gear 2. Similarly you have 2 and 3. For 2 and 3 it is N2 by N3 equal to T2. So if you want to find out the train value or the speed ratio of the whole combination, you have to multiply everything. So N1 by N2 LHS you will multiply equal to RHS, T2 by T1 into T3 by T2. So you can N2 and N2 will same, you can cancel. So finally you will get N1 by N3 is equal to T3 by T1. So you can note here that you have 3 gears here, but when we are calculating the speed ratio and train value, the intermediate gear is not coming in picture. You can see N1 by N3 is equal to T3 by T1. That means N2 and T2 is not coming in the picture. So that is another advantage of using intermediate gear, because intermediate gear will not involve in speed ratio. It is just used for changing the direction of the rotation of gears. So it is not coming in speed ratio. So N1 by N2, N3. N1 is speed of the driver, again divided by speed of the driven, is equal to number of teeth of the driven by number of teeth on the driver. So that idle gears, it is also called as idle gears, the intermediate gears. So why we are using that intermediate gears or idle gears are, you can connect if you have the axis with a big center distance. If you want to connect such gears, you will have intermediate gears. Similarly, if you want to get the desired direction of the motion of the driven gear, you will use this kind of gearing, intermediate gearing system. Next type is compound gear. Compound gear is here on one shaft if you have 2 or more gears. Previously you found that if you have only one gear on one shaft, it is called as simple gear. If you have 2 or more, so you can see here in this shaft you have 2 gears fixed on the same shaft. So this kind of gearing system is known as compound gear train. So there is lot of application for. See here you can see this is an arrangement for compound gear. You have driver gear 1 is meshing with gear, this is meshing with gear 2, and gear 2 and gear 3 is in same axis of the shaft. Now 3 will be rotating 4, and 4 and 5 will be on the same shaft, and again 5 is in turn rotating 6. So here 1 is meshing with 2, 3 is meshing with 4, and 5 is meshing with 6. So that's how we are writing down this equation. If 1 is meshing with 2, N1 by N2 equal to T2 by T1. Now we'll take this 3 and 4, N3 by N4 equal to T4 by T3. Then we have to take 5 and 6, N5 by N6 equal to T6 by T5. Now if you want to find out the speed ratio of the whole combination, we have multiply everything. So when you multiply everything, what happens is, see, all the it will come like this: N1 by N6 equal to T2 by T1, T4 by T3, and T6 by T5. Here N2 and N3 will get cancelled. Similarly, N4 and N5 will get cancelled because N2 and N3 is coming on the same shaft. So if T2 is rotating with one speed, N3 also will be rotating with the same speed because they are in the same axis. So speed of N2 and N3 will be same. So you can cancel that. Similarly, speed of N4 and N5 will be same because they are again on the same shaft. So N4 and N5 will cancel. So only you get N1 by N6 equal to remaining. So this is the speed ratio which you can get for compound gear trains. Train value will be the reciprocal of that. So here you can see N1 by N6 means speed of the first driver divided by speed of the last driver. That is the ratio which we will get here. So you have the problem that we will see later. Next type is, third type is the reverted gear train. Reverted gear train means, you can see here, if the first gear, so you can see 1 is meshing with the 2 and 2 and 3 is on the same shaft, 3 is meshing with the 4 and 1 and 4 is not in the same shaft, they are in the different shaft. But the axis of the shaft passes through the same axis. Okay, so that means they are coaxial. That is, if the axis of first gear and axis of the last gear passes through the same axis, or it is called as coaxial, then the gear train is called as reverted gear train. Okay, so that is the main thing about the reverted gear train. Next we will move on to the epicyclic gear train. Epicyclic gear train means, see, you have this here, you have the one shaft A and another shaft B. Both are, A is mounted on a sender O1 and B is mounted on a sender O2. If the two axes can move with each other in relative to each other, then this kind of arrangement is called as epicyclic gear train. So all the previous three types, you can see the gears mounted on shafts, but that shaft will be fixed shaft it will be. That axis of the shaft cannot move or rotate. But here the axis of the shaft, that is O1 and O2, can move relative to each other. That means O2 can revolve around. So what happens? The gear A can rotate, gear B can rotate as well as it can revolve around A, just like planets revolving around the sun. So that is why this kind of arrangement is also called as planetary gear system, or you can call it as epicyclic gear trains. So you can see, if you go through the theory, you can see why it is called as epicyclic, just because you have the sun at the center, you have all the planets revolving. Just like that, you can have one gear at the center which can rotate and another gears around it which can revolve around each other. So in this epicyclic gear train, so you have to keep in your mind that in your main exam you will have the question only from epicyclic gear trains. So one question from epicyclic gear train will be asked in the question, and that carries 20 marks. So epicyclic gear train you have to understand very carefully. So in order to understand what is an epicyclic gear train, how to find out the speed ratio and train value for epicyclic gear train, you have to know the basics of what is a simple gear train and what is compound. So that's why we have taken that. So in order to find out the train value or the speed ratio of epicyclic gear trains, you can find out that in two methods. One is algebraic method and another one is called as tabular method. Tabular means by drawing the table column. So in algebraic method, we will just frame the equations of formulas for the different speeds. Then we will equate, if one arm is fixed, we will equate that to 0, and you have a final equation and you can find out the speed ratio. That is just by forming the formulas or equations. But in tabular column method, we will formulate a table where you can plot the different speeds and you can find out by taking the simple equation. So regarding this, how to solve the problem in epicyclic gear train, we will take in the next class. So just understand this basic concepts like what is a gear train, what is the purpose of gear train, what are the different types of gear train, and what happens when you have the different types of gear train, what is speed ratio, what is train value, what happens to train value or speed ratio when two gears are rotating in same direction, when they are rotating in opposite direction. Whenever it is rotating in opposite direction, the value will be negative. When it is rotating in same direction, you can take it as positive also. So this is regarding the theory part of gear trains. Problem we'll see in the next class.